fam. We are back with the final episode of Shift Happens for 2025. It is December 31st, 2025, year-end review for Sonic CX, joined by my brother from another mother, Preston Pollock. And really, this episode is just going to be about what it's been like since the inception of Sonic CX. We launched July 28th, I believe.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 28th, July 28th was kind of our official first day. I think we sat on the website for quite some time, but I want to do this episode just to really talk about what it's been like, I guess. What is it, 6 months, 5 months? 5 months?
Yeah, I mean, officially, let's just say since we've launched, yes. 5 months, 4 since our very first campaign, which kind of immediately came out and was awesome. We'll get into that. But yeah, the 2025, man. A rush, success, risk.
You put a post about, or I think
was
you
gonna say-
commented to my post where you were like,
Okay,
it was a risk.
Yeah, I started
think-
to do a post and then I saw your video and I was like, mother effer.
You freaking beat me to it. You still do the post, but I think
Yeah, I'm going to.
I think like with the risk side of it, I know what you mean, right? Like obviously, but what do you want to elaborate on that? Like when
Yeah,
you say,
I mean, it's anybody that takes a risk and being an entrepreneur, starting their own business, it's scary. It really is. You don't have a guaranteed form of payment. There's not an hourly. But what I did have a guarantee on is what we were capable, I also had a guarantee that I could trust you would do what you do, I would do what I do, and we would bring in people that would help us with what we can't do, between the relationships that we have out there and that we've built along the way. We've been in the call and contact center space for decades. You've been in BPO and startups for
a
decade.
decade,
Yeah.
12 years. So.
Rolling all that together, the possibilities are endless if you decide to take the leap. And that was kind of my reaction to that post. Like there was risk, there was rush.
Yeah, I think the risk, it's like scary, man. Like, and you look at, like, especially going from like W-2, and I know we touched on the fact before that you were kind of already doing the self-employment thing, remodeling homes, and actually, I don't even think you were taking it as seriously as you could have, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it was just like a way for you to kind of survive while you were waiting for me to get the balls to go, and then circumstances just landed. But even it was weird because for me, I was immediately calm in a weird way when it happened. I know you were ready, so like you were like.
I was ready to get this thing rolling because it was an idea, right? And it was, there was things on paper, but there isn't necessarily action taken to get the ball rolling that we actually needed. But yeah, it's weird. I agree. I didn't feel nervous or worried when I was unemployed.
Self-employed.
I'm like, there's so many ways to make money. And, you guys were talking about next door. And I'm like, shoot, renovated my entire house. I've renovated other houses, custom fireplaces and closets, posted it, and instantly got responses. Hey, can you come and build a closet for me? Hey, can you come and build a fireplace for me? Sure, $4,000. Okay, boom, done. Way to make money while we were waiting for the ball to get rolling, and I enjoyed it for sure. That's something.
I mean, you were already doing well in your own right, and I know like we had a few conversations. I think circumstances landed, and then they just worked out the way they worked out. But I thought I would have been, and it's not to take away from the risk. I thought for sure I would have been more terrified, and I think that just speaks to the timing and the fact that we had sat on the idea for so long that it was like, it wasn't just like some spur of the moment, like, what are we going to do now? Like, it
Yeah.
was just like, hey, that idea that we've been talking about and thinking about for all this time, let's go. So that certainly helped, because I think I been in the position where I lost my job, and then we were sitting in your basement, it was like, what are we going to do? Would have
Yeah.
felt a little bit different, versus like we already kind of had a dream. So it was like, cool, let's go. Um, which is interesting because I think we go far enough back, and that was actually when we first started talking about doing a business together. And I think we covered this in another podcast, but you'd be like, dude, come over to my house. Let's get a
Whiteboard.
whiteboard and let's write all the ways we could make money and things we could do together.
Yeah, we're talking about cleaning, talking about
Yeah.
washing windows, and like there literally is. And for people that are entrepreneurs and or wannabe entrepreneurs, and you're just scared to take the leap, it is scary. But particularly if you even have just the tiniest nest egg put away to survive on, you will start making money. You just have to make shift happen. Like the episode's called.
Make shit
And
happen.
what it comes down to is I mean, for a while there, gosh, the amount of work that we were putting into, and it's not to say that we're not still, but there was times where I would have to start to set an alarm on my phone and say, it's time to step away from the computer, time to
Time to be
log off,
done.
you know,
Yeah, I think the last couple weeks have been weird, particularly, I mean, obviously, because what we do, a lot of decision makers and like partners are inherently off the last 2 weeks of the year. And even if they're working, they're kind of like halfway checked in. So this last couple of weeks has been weird. I mean, almost like guilt at times for me, where I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to do something today, like anything to move the business forward.
yeah.
But like, I actually was able to, and it's a testament to like the partnership we have and the people that we work with. Like, I was actually able to like on Christmas Day and like Christmas Eve check out.
Yeah. Now, not
And
have that mindset of, God, if,
the world's gonna
things are
be,
going to break if I don't touch it for sure.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think, and so when you look at it, because honestly, and I think we go a million ways with this, but like if you were to go back and talk to yourself from like back in July through today, like what's a piece of advice that you would give to yourself truthfully, like knowing what you know now, kind of having lived it for the last 5 months, has there been anything that for you that you're like, damn, like if I could have, aside, yeah, we've had some success, like, hey, stay the course, this shit's gonna work out, but like I'm talking about just the mental of it all.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll just talk to what pops into mind, and kind of what I was thinking of when I started talking about it at the beginning and it being a concept is, we had a direction in mind of where we were going to go, how it was going to be funded, right? And went the completely opposite because opportunities fell in our lap due to relationships. You had a lunch, went well, boom, started to take off the ground, and then we start making noise. And we haven't even revisited that original idea, which we thought was going to be, um, a huge part of what Sonic was going to do, at least
So
up
you're talking
front.
about the initial contract that
Yeah,
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 yeah. No. And it's funny now because I think we've talked about it. And I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of back and forth, but there's a part of me that's like, God, what a blessing.
yeah.
Because I think had we gone down that path with the initial first customer and the thought of it, we'd be shaped entirely differently than we are today.
Totally different,
Yeah. Yeah. We would have been more of the same, I think.
Yeah, I think we customized ourselves to a unique type of BPO um, that doesn't have.
Yeah. Yeah. for both of us, right? And it's that I think that's like, and when I say but like us and the partner, but I mean it is scary. Like you look at it, and I think there is a little bit of a mindset because we had called one of our buddies in the space, and he's like, dude, just figure out a way to make it work. Where inherently it's like, okay, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. But yeah. So what's your advice to yourself though? Like, no, not you. You're gonna find that it's not anyway, right? Like you think it's perfect. You'll go back in 3 months and be like, "Man, was I wrong?" Like our website. I thought for sure what you would say, and I think to answer my own question on it was big decisions 24 hours. Yeah, because that's yeah. Yeah, I think early on, like we were met with some, like we started to grow and things were moving in a direction so quickly, like without getting too personal, you and I both know what I'll be talking about here, but you start to make a decision because you're like, there's kind of this panic mode or this reactive mode of like, well, we can't let this happen. And so you try to come up with like a really quick decision just to find out that like, hey, you did have 24 hours to sit on it. You do have time to like marinate in the thought. And I think you constantly remind me of that. Because I tend to still be a little bit more like emotional. I don't know if you call it that or like reactive. And you're like, could this wait 24 hours? Like, yeah, I think there's been a time or two where you've been like, told you. Like, okay. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. I think like and for me I one of the most unexpected things for like building a company and like going through it. I like the personal and like the personal transformation that takes place, and I mean that really sincerely. I don't know if you've gone through it but I like stepping into this, like I really thought I knew what to expect. And the amount of hours I've spent, like in bed at night, just like thinking I'm a marketing genius because I'm tired and I'm like writing some shit, or like I go down this rabbit hole and have full on conversations with AI about like whatever it is, right? Like, and then but what, like, it's called into question. And I think I wish more people could see it the way that I'm seeing it today. And like, I hope I never lose sight of it, is like how much I've left on the table for so many years. So many years. I just look back at it and I'm like, man, if I would have been operating at this level, like, and I think like now that it's easier said than done, right? Because now we have a business, revenue's coming in, we've got a great team of individuals around us. But like when you see it and you're like, and I, yeah, maybe there's some luck involved to the extent like opportunities presented themselves and the timing was wonderful, but we were in positions to take advantage of those opportunities and turn them into something meaningful. But at the same time, I look and I'm like, and how many missed opportunities went by because of fear, because of like an excuse, because of this, that, the other, right? And like, I think one thing I've learned over the last 6 months is to touch on something you just said, which is like be a doer, find a way to make it happen. Like if it's there, there's nothing that truly like nothing that can stop you. And it's just kind of this, I don't know, it's like this awakening for me over the last 6 months of like, dude, you can do anything you want to do. You can be anybody you want to be if you just do. Yeah, yeah, that's way more casual on a cell phone call. Sparked an idea. Yeah, yeah. It, there's a huge difference between busy and productive. There's a huge difference. It's yeah. I mean, I think Alex Hermosi has a thing. I mean, here we are dropping names of like super accomplished individuals, but like he said, if you really want to know how productive your days are, every 15 minutes, write down what you did for the last 15 minutes. And he's like, don't tell me you don't have time for it. He's like, spend an entire week doing that, and you'll see how unproductive and how much time you actually have. And that's how he self-checks. He spends an entire week when he's working every 15 minutes. He sets a timer and logs what he just did for the last 15 minutes and gets back to it. And he's like, it will shock you how unproductive you are. And I think like, one of the things that like when you look at it like this is, I in the video that you referenced, like where you had posted about risk or commented about the risk of starting a business and how it was well worth it. But it was like I think I said, fuck, I lost my thought, but it was something, along the lines of, oh, if you would have asked us back in July, would we be where we are today? And I was said, yeah, I would say yes, but not so confidently. And we've been fortunate to like where we are today. We are further along than I think, if I was being honest, back in July, I thought we would be. But it's not as glamorous as everybody wants to like make it out to be. I was on a call with Anthony yesterday, who I believe you've met Anthony before. And he's like, dude, you guys are crushing it, blah, 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 blah. And and it's kind of like this, like obviously I want to celebrate our success, but also it's like I told him on the call, I'm like, dude, it's not as glamorous as maybe you would think. Like I said, Preston and I still have not paid ourselves any money from the business. And I said, and I think it stems from the fact that we grew up poor. We've seen what it's like to like not have money, and so I think we've run a master class in uh hoarding cash, not like we're bajillionaires, but we really have not. And it's kind of like this extent of like being prepared for the next yes. And so like if you do want to start a company, look, without giving too many details, like we are on a run rate to do well over $1 million in annual revenue in our first 4 months of business. We're going to be doing multiple millions by this time next year, without a doubt, and we still haven't paid ourselves. And I even had a conversation with another friend where I told him like, we have not paid ourselves a penny, and he's like, can you tell me why not? And I think it's that fear of like, one, you want to be able to say yes to opportunities when they come up. And every time I think we get into a position and we have a conversation about paying ourselves, a new opportunity comes up. And what a new opportunity equals is you need more cash, because that equals new payroll, new expense. So for every opportunity, and so like if you think you're going to get into building a business and it's just going to become watch the money flow in, you can certainly do that, but in some ways it can reduce your ability for the next yes. And I think that's something we've done well, but I think a lot of people look at founders and go, they go, well, those guys are just making a killing. And it's like, no, no, no. You got to understand the sacrifices that are made, like the conversations we have, and like the like, yeah, hey, should we pay ourselves? Like, what should we pay ourselves? And then it's like, hey, we got a campaign. We need to hire 30 more people. Well, with 30 more people, what that equates to for anybody that's thinking about starting a business, that generally can mean anywhere from like a month to 2 months of payroll before you ever start to see money come in. And there's profit there, but then the next yes comes in, and now that's the next payroll. And so if you really want to grow a meaningful business like what you and I are trying to do, I think you've got to understand the difference between, really just understand cash flow. Understand it, live by it, and don't glamorize this journey. Like I think we talked yesterday, and I think I forgot the context of the conversation, but we were basically just like talking about like, I think cash flow and like paying ourselves. And I'm like, hey, let's enjoy this, because everybody that built anything great always goes back. The coolest part of their story is now. when you're, and I think what we're building, dude, like we're some in some aspects, yes, we haven't paid ourselves. Could we? Yes. That's nice to know. We're consciously making decisions to be careful with cash flow and distribution and making sacrifices with purpose. And I think like more people need to understand like building a business is not just watch money come in. It's actually quite a bit of sacrifice. Yeah. 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 But, Sonic CX flag flying. Get one of the air guns that they use at the jazz games. Yeah. The well, and that's I mean that's another thing, right? Because this is something that and I mean this sincerely and that we've never talked about this and I think more people I don't know if you struggle with it, but there's a fine line between like being proud of where we are today and like ego, right? Like I ran into a old coworker. I took my son to the Jazz game last night, the Utah Jazz game. Out of this arena of 45,000 people, there's somebody that I worked with um sitting right in front of me. Like an old coworker, somebody I respect. And he turns around, I like tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he goes, "Hey, it's good to see you. What are you up to?" And I said, "Same old same." and it's because, like, for one, I'm kind of a little bit superstitious, so I don't like to jinx myself, and like, but I also like took a minute to reflect and like, why didn't I share, like, and because there is this balance of like, where do you celebrate your wins, right? Like I like we had a really big verbal commit that could potentially be a very big win for the business, and I shared it with a family member, and the first words out of their mouth to me was, congratulations, stay humble. And 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 then I reflect on that, right? And so it's like, when you're building a business, it's just, I don't know if everybody goes through it, but yeah, but I don't want to talk about it because nobody really gives a shit. Yeah, like, I mean, when people ask, I literally just go like, "How's business? Good." Like, or but it's funny because I'd be so openly willing to share a loss and feel like people, like, that's okay. It is not okay to share a win, and maybe it is, and maybe this is why, like, these, like, I feel like nobody really wants to hear it. But again, I don't speak to this, like, this isn't like a therapy session in the sense that it's just, I think anybody that builds, as you build a company, you're going to figure out exactly what we're talking about. Like, because like, it's not a, like, there's very few people that truly understand, and it's beyond it's not a job, it is an emotional commitment. Your company becomes a relationship that nobody quite understands, and it's not like a no, you can't. It's not like they can. It's not like Sonic CX is going to walk in and make friends with everybody during dinner. But like, it's such a big part of who we are. Like, during our day to day, doesn't define us. But like, for all purposes, we are married to this build. And so, like, you want to. It's like, if watching. I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's just. Yeah. Yeah. And then you wake up later and you're like, oh, it wasn't as good as it thought. Yeah. Well, in some of my previous roles, there's this saying, they say it's lonely at the top, right? Like, what, like, and I always understood that. I've had some pretty fancy titles, and my understanding of that was like, um from a decision making standpoint, like, you're in rooms making hard decisions and there's not a lot of people to talk to. Now, in building a company, it carries an entirely different meaning. Like, and like, you look at it, like, let's just say you're carry a high title at a big corporation. Like, it's hard to make friends, because everybody inherently, if they're not your peer, there's a fear. And in many organizations and culture, it's like, you see the room set up, like, oh, the Preston's here, the freaking vice president of this division, and everybody's like just trying to impress you. And then like, and then so you like you really only friends with your peers, but now getting into like building a company, it's even lonelier. I think we're fortunate to have each other, but like there is the would I think we talk about 10 times a day right now over the cell phones and video calls like this. we're I don't even think we talked on Christmas at all. Yeah, we didn't talk at all on Christmas, and but it's I just look at it differently because again, it's that like it's like it's like we share the same passion and love for what we're doing here, and I think we have team members that genuinely like give a shit as well. Like they want us to win as much as we want them to win, and like and that's cool, but it is it's a different thing, which kind of I guess we can transition away, but um brings me to the next point, which is uh, like how oh cool. Trevor just sent us the newest so, yeah, Project X. Trevor Hunter, Project X, man. Good dude. Yeah, good dude. Good dude. Hopefully you see this, Trevor. We'll get a short and chop it up into a YouTube video and uh, LinkedIn. Show you some love. The part that I want to talk to, and I don't know, like obviously I've been pretty public of the fact that like 75 hard and you're doing 69 soft because you got to go to Mexico and you're like, dude, there's no way I'm working out in Mexico. Like, nope. But the point is like, have you in this experience, right? And like it's like I think so. I think the biggest problem, and I think people need to hear this, like the biggest problem, and it might come back to, and when I say problem, the biggest opportunity for anybody that wants to grow professionally or start a company. And look, we're not like I'm not the guy to sit here and preach from some ivory tower. Like I'm not, but I've come to this realization the biggest problem is, in my opinion, and I don't know if you've experienced this, is people spend too much time trying to impress other people than they do trying to impress themselves. Like and so like I could say like more than the success of the company, I feel like I don't know if I'm going through a midlife crisis or like yeah, like it's that like when I was working for other people, all my decisions primarily, I can't say all, but a good chunk of my decisions would be centered around how to satisfy them. Yeah. Well, I think now being an owner, of course, inherently, but I'd even take it a step further and say they should be impressing themselves, and automatically we're going to be impressed, right? Like it's this simple shift in thinking, but like I mean, I can't. This is when I mentioned like all the potential that got left on the table when I look back. The like, even my last employer, I was on the phone with him, and he made a comment to me which was well deserved. He said, "I call into question where was this version of you at when you were working with me?" And inherently I'm like, well, uh, it's easier because as a business owner, I can say whatever the hell I want because nobody's going to report me to me. If there's a problem, you'll be like, yo, bro, like tone it down. Like, but obviously we have a relationship. That's yeah, yeah. But what's funny is I don't think that's really what happened. I mean, what it forced me to do, it became I don't have to please anybody. Like, and it allowed me to truly start making decisions that I'm proud of myself for. Yeah, like, hey, it created this, it opened this creativity in me where it was like, hey, what is everything that, like, if, like, no rules, like, you want to be successful, like, be yourself. And so, like, I've really tried to reframe, and like, this is kind of my theme for 2026 is make decisions that make me proud, and then let everybody else be proud. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. Like there's the saying, you have to be selfish to be selfless. Or I've heard that saying before, but like that's I can't even tell you how many times like just like I've thought about this. Like, if am I doing this to appease something or someone else, or like, and there's a trade-off, but 90% of what I do in my personal life should make me proud of me. And like, and I don't know that very many people that see this video, I don't know that if you could truly understand it, but I would highly encourage you to sit in it, because if you start to live your life in a way that the only person you're trying to impress is yourself, you will like open up so many doors. And like, I don't know, dude, like I look at everybody without like name dropping, like all the, but there's people that I look up to, you being one of them. I look up to you for a multitude of reasons, and people I don't even know that I look up to, right? And like, I don't know them personally. I know of them because of their content and the shit they do. There's one defining fact across, like, you're probably one of the most stubborn people I've ever met in my life, and I love you for that. You stand on your own 2 feet. I think I share some similarities in that like some similarities there, but we're different in our own rights. But like, we don't like everybody I admire impresses me because I know they impress themselves. Who moved my cheese? Yeah. It actually wasn't that boring, to be honest. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 10 pages. Yeah. Yeah. It's so undervalued, bro. It's so undervalued. I think, and I try to, I like, it's funny because I'll post about this stuff and I'm like, well, I haven't accomplished enough to like say it. But at the same time, it's like, hey, there's somebody out there that maybe they'll read it. They're probably my lowest engaging posts for some reason, but they mean the most to me because call centers are just like so natural. Like it's we happen to be really good at contact centers. It does not define who we are as people. But yeah, it's been, and so when you look at kind of getting back, and I know this is our last podcast of 2025, but well, there'll be plenty more next year. I think we've got Ben joining us for our one next week. But when you look at 2026, what is for you? What's your personal, and where do you picture Sonic CX being? Start personally and then go to the business. Thriving. Yeah. One 100%. What's your personal goal? So you talked about the business. What's Preston look like in 2026? Yeah, and you can eat whatever the hell you want, not gain a. It's not fair. It takes a toll on you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, I'm a little jealous, like the fact that you can just eat like, and me, I'll now when it comes to like trying to put on size, I guess there's the benefit if you hold on to fat, you can convert fat into muscle. But the yeah, Preston, as long as I've known him, has been like the same build and skinny. I mean, obviously you've been muscular at times and like, but you've always been thin. Where when we grew up together, I think I grew horizontally before I grew vertically. So I was like the short, chubby friend. And then I kind of and then I've always kind of just fluctuated in weight. You've been fortunate enough to always be thin. Yeah, continue to evolve. Uh, mine's gonna be honestly so personally, I am gonna my goal is to truly not care about the opinions of other people. And I don't mean that like be reckless. It literally just means like to step into being myself, like 100%. Like I think the perfect example of that would be videos like this. Like right now, I don't feel like I look all that great today. I look tired. I move my desk, like the lighting. I don't really care. I know I'm a handsome guy. Yeah. Yeah. But like there's the part of me and I don't it's not a reckless thing. It's just like I'm gonna give myself permission coming into 2026 to like, you know what? I know for sure the life I want is outside of trying to fit a mold of like or be this example of what I think success looks like and just truly be myself, like and so that for me, my goal goes to what I said earlier, which is I'm going to do everything I can to impress myself. And I don't, you could whoever sees this, you could think whatever you want about that, but I really mean it. And it's if I put out a shitty video, if I don't if you don't like the way I say something, like I don't care. I truly don't care because I'm doing it. And if you don't have the life that I'm aiming for, why would I care about your opinion anyway? And I don't mean that in some arrogant way, but that's my 2026. Like I've had people watch my videos in my that I've posted like my brother, yeah, you, which you're not on LinkedIn, so you won't see this, but tell me about the lighting and you need to speak this way. And it's like you could take that advice and I could have went and like tried to change things to appease somebody that doesn't even film a video, does not create content in no way, shape, or form is heading and trying to accomplish the same things that you and I are trying to accomplish. So 2026 is kind of think my year to focus on me and like the mental aspect and stripping down the barriers of trying to fit the mold of quote unquote success that other people label because I think everybody can be successful being themselves. And I wrote a post the other night that got no love, and I don't think anybody knew really what it meant. But it says, I said, I don't think authenticity is a brand strategy. It's a byproduct of competence and self trust. And that's literally, I wrote it, I meant it, and that's what 2026 is for me. And then for the business, I will go as bold as saying that I think by this time next year, and I don't think this is bold, I think Sonic CX will be doing over $10 million in annual revenue. I think we already are. Yeah, I mean, we walked away from a deal because we wrote an 18-page agreement, which we know is overly excessive, but the agreement itself was actually, yeah, the agreement itself, it wasn't just it was more of a joint venture. So it was kind of like but I didn't expect, they came back and wanted a 2-page agreement, and there's just no way that that was going to work. And Yeah, it warranted 18 pages. It was the it did. Yeah. Could have moved quick. We'll just stay the course. We're gonna it's gonna be hey, we're gonna make a couple mistakes, but that's okay. We've made mistakes, but small ones relatively speaking. I think we've learned what could have been expensive lessons very inexpensively. So yeah. Yeah. So here's my challenge for you, and then you can give one to me. But my challenge to you, which I gave you the other day, is to post on LinkedIn because you are just as much a you Sonic CX is you just as much as it is me and the world. You got to be posting there, brother. Get out there. You're the mad scientist behind the scenes, but uh, you gotta quit trying to don't impress. Just impress yourself, dude. Just kidding. I would throw it will. What was the last thing you posted without looking? Okay, before that. No, but the point I'm trying to drive home is if you don't remember, nobody, you know what I mean? Like I could tell you what I posted about today. I couldn't tell you about yesterday as much as well, maybe I could, but like a week ago, for sure not. For sure not. So I don't know. I love you, brother. I think what we're doing here, I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else in the world. Like I freaking all the love and respect. You and I have known each other forever and yeah, dude, I just appreciate the hell out of you and um yeah, dude. And you are going to sacrifice. You are going to sacrifice. You and I, when we first started at Discover Card, I think like I liken it to that. Maybe not quite as rough because we were like pancakes and top of ramen, but like there's been no like, I mean, yeah, dude, it's funny because yeah, yeah, the sacrifice is real. I mean, you look at the volume of the transactions for the business and be like, it's nothing short of it is impressive what we've accomplished, but like the glamour behind it is like, hey, bro, yeah, my fridge isn't fully stocked at all times. Like, I'm eating leftovers more often than I used to, like trying to extract value. Like I do splurge on waters and liquid deaths. Yeah, but yeah, I don't do tap water, dude. I can't do it. I feel like it'll make me sick, especially if I have to drink a gallon a day tap water. But I think the next episode's going to be an interesting one. I dropped it on your calendar because we were in it. I was in a. I just want to give you a prelude to what, and anybody that if they even made it this far. I was in a conversation with Ben, and he started to talk about his belief in activity metrics. And I was like, oh, and I'm sitting there on the phone call, which it was actually a very healthy conversation. But I said, I have so many comments I want to make back to you right now. Yeah. And he's like, I know, but he's like, this goes in line with what you guys talk about with key revenue indicators. And I'm like, well, let's save it and let's record it because I think the more challenged we can be on our philosophies, I think there is a middle ground, but we're out here to disrupt shit. So we're making a lot of noise in the other direction. And I know we're right, but it's we just gotta pick a few fights. So it'll be fun. Yeah. SONIQ shift happens here, ladies and gentlemen. See you next year. Bye.